Good afternoon, I'm Faye Barker. The deadline has now passed for British nationals in Sudan to take a UK evacuation flight out of the war-torn country. Although thousands of British nationals are still believed to remain there, the Foreign Office says the numbers arriving at the evacuation point have dwindled. A meeting of the government's Cobra Emergency Committee is due to take place this afternoon to discuss the next steps in responding to the crisis. It comes after a fragile ceasefire was extended until Sunday night in Sudan, despite reports of continued fighting. Andrew Mishra reports.
Time's run out for British nationals hoping to get the UK's last flight out of Sudan. The deadline was midday local time to get to the extraction point, an airbase 20 kilometres north of the capital, Khartoum. Those left behind must now find their own route to safety. The UK government says it's rescued more than 1,500 British nationals from Sudan since Tuesday, as part of what it claims is the longest and largest evacuation effort of any Western country.
Every single British national that has come forward and their eligible dependents has been put safely onto a plane. We are seeing those numbers declining significantly, and just like other countries, as those numbers decline, we have put an end date on this. We will maintain consular support in Sudan.
The Deputy Prime Minister will chair a Cobra meeting this afternoon to work out what the next stage of that support looks like. More than 500 people have been killed so far in the battle between rival military groups. Fighting hasn't stopped, despite a ceasefire that's been extended until tomorrow night. It's expected to return with a vengeance.
The situation in Khartoum is very critical. It's very dangerous.
Very difficult, very sadful, situation is very disaster.
With a lack of food and fuel supplies coming in, people are heading out any way they can. The last UK flight leaves Sudan at around 6 o'clock tonight.
So, Andrew, what now for those British nationals who haven't made it to the airfield in time and may still want to leave Sudan?
Well, that's it for the flights, but there are other routes available. People are heading to the border with Egypt and also to those boats at Port Sudan. But those journeys look set to get more and more perilous as this ceasefire comes to an end. And even if you do get yourself to one of those exit points, it's not necessarily the end of the story. We're hearing reports of people on that border with Egypt being quoted tens of thousands of pounds by drivers to take them across to safety. So plenty, I think, for them to discuss at that Cobra meeting this afternoon.
Indeed, Andrew Mishra, thank you. Now back here, some nurses will be exempt from strike action this weekend to support one of the UK's leading children's hospitals. Great Ormond Street Hospital had expressed serious concerns over patient safety. The Royal College of Nursing says it has agreed to all of the exemptions the hospital has asked for. Every state school in England could close if there is coordinated strike action from the 4 biggest teaching unions. The unions have proposed striking together in the autumn over pay. And the Royal Navy has launched an investigation after sensitive documents about one of its nuclear submarines were found in a pub toilet. The training documents for HMS Anson were reportedly found in a Wetherspoons in Cumbria. Now, history will be made at Twickenham this afternoon as England's Red Roses fight for a 5th successive Women's Six Nations title. They'll kick off against France shortly in front of a world record crowd. Well, Chris Scudder's there. So, Chris, an important match in several ways.
Yeah, landmark day, Faye, for women's rugby. World record crowd expected. Well, there's going to be 58,000 more. Never been that many women's rugby fans in a stadium before. Very much a landmark day. The world record currently stands at 42,000. That was the World Cup final last November in New Zealand, which England lost. And much of their success has been down to winning games, quite simply. The last time England lost a Six Nations match to France was way back in 2018. So the Grand Slam on the line today. Interesting that that day, back in 5 years ago, that there was a world record crowd of 17,000. Now 3 times that. And, you know, this is the home of men's rugby. the women have played second fiddle because before they'd often play, well, 4 years ago when they played Scotland here, they played off the back of the men's, and by the time they kicked off, the place was practically empty. So the game has come a long way very, very quickly. And the success of the Red Roses, they're simply almost unbeatable. Apart from losing that World Cup final last November, they haven't lost the Six Nations game for 5 years. Showdown today, England versus France. Winner takes it all for the Grand Slam.
Chris Scudder at Twickenham, thank you. The Hollywood actor Tom Cruise has been announced as the latest star to feature in the King's coronation concert.
What you're about to see is one of the most enthralling, thrilling, heart-in-the-mouth displays in the land, if not the world.
Well, Cruise attended the Royal Windsor Horse Show last year to mark the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. He and Dame Joan Collins, Sir Tom Jones and Bear Grylls will be among the stars appearing in pre-recorded videos at the concert in Windsor on May the 7th. Meanwhile, the screen that'll provide privacy for the King's anointing during the coronation has been revealed. Behind the embroidered screen, the Archbishop of Canterbury will use holy oil to make the sign of the cross on the King's head.
What's at the heart of it is all about collaboration. It's about the Commonwealth, how the countries work together, and how the King is, in fact, at the centre of that, and bringing together everybody, diverse countries, bringing them together to work together. And that's exactly how we've run this project.
That's the latest. Lucy Watson will be here at 6. Until then, have a good afternoon. Bye-bye.